Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I've come up with an interesting topic, Oracle Accounts Payable Multi-Period Accounting in EBS. Okay, so before we proceed further, I just want to give you a reminder about my giveaway a surprise gift video for those of you who have not subscribed. Please subscribe to my channel and please do comment on my giveaway or surprise gift video. The URL of that video is mentioned in the description of this my current video. Okay, what is multi-period accounting? It's a process of recording or recognizing expenses over a period of time. So in a real world business scenarios, there are a lot of cases wherein you make a payment of expenses in advance. That is, there will be a prepaid advances. It could be a internet expenses, it could be a prepaid rent, prepaid insurance, and so on. So it could be any prepaid expenses which you maybe a pay at the start of the year or start of the quarter, and you want to apportion that or recognize the expenses over a period of time. That is, you want to distribute that expenses over multiple accounting periods, even though you pay it in the one accounting period. So one business case could be like, yeah, you paid an internet expense of say $1,200 for the entire year, and you want to amortize or distribute that expenses each month. So to explain in the accounting terms, so when you make your prepayment expenses, so in simple terms, your general entry would be your prepaid expense debit, say $12,000, and your say cash account credit, say $12,000. But you want this $12,000 to be allocated over a period of time. So maybe if you want to allocate this to over 12 months, so each month your expectation is, say, take an example, this is an expense related to your prepaid internet expenses. So each month you want to pass an accounting entry, something like internet expenses debit $1,000, prepaid expenses credit $1,000. So this is month one. For month two, again you want to pass a similar accounting entry, and for month three you want to pass a similar accounting entry, and so on. So this is your requirement. So if you're doing it as a manual process without using MPA functionality, this is how you generally do. You create a prepayment invoice and make the payment of this prepayment invoice, create recurring invoice template with a special calendar, and generate recurring invoices each month, and then apply that prepayment invoice to this above generated recurring invoices each month, run create accounting, transfer to GL, and also you use your prepayment status report every month to check what exactly is the balance available in your prepaid invoice. So this is how you do if you are not using a MPA functionality. I mean, generally most of the business users were doing this way in Oracle 11, where MPA functionality was not available. But now in EBS and as well as in Fusion, we have the MPA functionality. So now I'll explain you how we can achieve this using a MPA functionality. So there are a couple of steps which are involved before we start using the MPA functionality. Okay, so the first thing is you need to create an invoice line level DFF. So what is the reason for the invoice line level DFF? So whenever you say, take an example, you make a prepayment invoice for say $12,000. So this is how you create your journal entry, your prepaid expense debit, and your cash account credit. So in Oracle terms, it would be like whenever you make a prepayment, you create a prepayment invoice, you specify your prepaid advance account, and then your liability will be credited. And whenever you make a payment of that particular prepayment, your liability will be debited and cash will be credited. But when you are making that original entry, uh, and you want the system to generate these entries, obviously at this stage you did not specify what exactly is the kind of expense. when you make a prepayment invoice, you are just using your advance account, but you do not specify what exactly is the expenditure to which system should actually hit every month. So that is the reason why we create a DFF. Again, there are different ways to handle this. So this is one of the scenario. Whatever the scenario which I'm explaining here is the a solution which we have used for one of our client. So what you need to do is at an invoice line level, create a DFF, and in the DFF, specify what kind of this prepaid expenditure. Is it an internet expense? Is it a rent expense, or is it a your prepaid insurance expense, and so on. So we'll just create one DFF at an invoice line level so that the user can specify what kind of expense is that. Okay. So the first step would be to create invoice line level DFF. So in order to do that, you can log into your any your payables or GL responsibility. Go to setup, flexi fields, descriptive, segments, search for payables, and we want to create a DFF at invoice line level. So invoice line, this is the title, invoice lines. I have already created a DFF. So ensure that you create a context specific DFF. So before you start creating this, so first you need to unfreeze the existing descriptive flex field definition. Enter this code, name, description, go to your segments, just enter any meaningful DFF label name, type of expense. So I'm just calling it as a type of expense. I have assigned an attribute and I have assigned a value set. So click on this value set. I've created a simple independent value set. So in this particular value set, I will hold the list of those different kind of expenses, rent, internet, or your insurance, and so on. Assign this value set here and make it as a mandatory, so that whenever user gets into this context of MPA, he need to mandatorily enter the type of expense. So freeze this, compile this, wait for the program gets triggered behind the scenes. So wait for the program to be completed. Yeah, it's completed. Okay, that's the first step. So now whenever user create an MPA related invoice, there will be an additional DFF wherein he can specify what kind of uh, account it is. Okay, I have created the invoice level DFF, and I'll also created a value set, and I will also show you the values which I have assigned under this independent value set. So my value set name is type of expense. So I have created three values: insurance, internet, and rent. Make note: insurance, internet, and rent. So now when the user is creating an AP invoice, so these are the three values which will be appearing in the drop down. Okay. Now we need to create some kind of an SLA rules so that system create these entries every month. Okay. So the first thing is, whenever you create your SLA rules, obviously at a ledger level, you will be assigning a subledger accounting method. By default, you'll be assigning a standard accrual, which is a Oracle provided seeded subledger accounting method. So whenever you are doing a customization of your SLA rules, the first thing is you need to take a copy of the standard accrual subledger accounting method and start customizing on the custom subledger accounting method. So let's get into that. So switch to your SLA super user responsibility, subledger accounting setups, accounting method builder, methods and definitions, subledger accounting method. So search for standard accrual, which is an Oracle seeded subledger accounting method, and then click on copy and create your own custom version. So I just want to call it as maybe I'll just say this is Reliance. So I'll start with say Reliance demo slam, Reliance demo slam. Let me just make a note of my custom subledger accounting method. And my transaction account chart of accounts is Reliance accounting flexible. That is my chart of accounts, and the accounting chart of accounts is Reliance chart of accounts. Reliance accounting flexible. Click on done. Okay. So this is my custom subledger accounting method. Now assign this custom subledger accounting method to your ledger. Okay, let me go to my ledger screen. For that, I need to get into GL responsibility, setup, financials, accounting setup manager, accounting setups. Search for my ledger. So my ledger is Reliance USD. Click on update accounting options. Click on update against your general processing options. So here you can see standard accrual is the default subledger accounting method. Now I want to change it to my custom subledger accounting method, Reliance demo slam, and then finish. So here I've just assigned my custom subledger accounting method. So at this stage, I did not make any customization to the subledger accounting method. So it's just a copy of the standard subledger accounting method. Now go back to your SLA rules. Subledger accounting setups, accounting method builder, methods and definition, subledger accounting method. So search for your Reliance demo slam. This is my custom subledger accounting method. So under subledger accounting method, I have different applications and the concerned application accounting definition assigned to that. So my current focus is on the payables application, and for payable application, this is a standard Oracle provided application accounting definition. So copy this, go to your application accounting definition, search for payables and accrual basis. Again, so we have customized the custom subledger accounting method. Under custom subledger accounting method, I still have the standard accrual standard application accounting definition. Now I need to again customize this standard application accounting definition. So copy this, call it as Reliance demo AAD, Reliance demo AAD, and my chart of accounts transaction chart of accounts is Reliance accounting flex field. This is also Reliance accounting flex field. Click on done. So this is my custom AAD. Now again go back to your slam. So just follow the hierarchy. Go back to your slam, which is your subledger accounting method. And assign this custom AAD. Again, remember what I'm trying to do is I'm actually following the hierarchy. First, I created a custom subledger accounting method, assigned it to my ledger. Now I've created a custom AAD, assigned it under my custom slam. Again, the actual SLA rule customization happens at the lowest level. Okay, so this is my custom AAD. Now get into AAD, application accounting definition. And now our requirement is to create this accounting entries each month. So basically we need to, there are different event classes, credit memo, debit memo, future dated payments, invoices, and so on. So we should be actually customizing the event class of invoices because we want system to generate these invoices every month. Or not exactly invoices, I should call it as these accounting entries. Okay. So under this event class of invoices, I have the standard general line definition, which is called JLD. Now click on copy. Sorry, not here. Click on the general line definition. So this is the standard JLD. Okay, now I need to again customize this. So click on copy definition. Again call it as Reliance Demo Reliance Demo AP accrual JLD Reliance Demo AP accrual JLD. Done. Okay, so this is your JLD. Close here, put your cursor here, copy your custom, and then delete your standard because you cannot have two JLDs. You can have only one JLD. Okay. Now go to general line definition. This is your custom. Again, within the general line definition, your requirement is to create an accounting entry wherein you debit your expense account and credit your prepaid expense account. Okay. So ideally, you should be playing around with your general line type of item expense. Okay. So what you need to do is click on this JLT line type. So you need to create two general line types. One general line type for accrual and another general line type for recognition. So when I say accrual and recognition, so this line is created by JLT of accrual and this line is created by JLT of recognition. So we want an expense account to be debited and we want this prepaid expense account to be credited. So what you need to do is, again I'm explaining, click on line type, click on this copy. So you create custom JLT. So let me call it as Reliance Demo AP item expense JLT. Reliance Demo AP item expense JLT. And transaction chart of account is Reliance accounting flexibility. Done. Okay. Change this accounting class to prepayment. You can call it as prepaid expense. And change it to accrual. So this is your JLT. Let me make a note of accrual JLT. And similarly, we need to create a JLT for uh, recognition. So again, you can do the same thing. Line type, copy. You can just say Reliance Demo AP item recognition. Reliance Demo AP item recognition. Just make a note of this. And your chart of accounts is Reliance accounting flexible. Click on done. And I need to select this. So when I select this recognition, it throws this message. A multi-period recognition general line type must not have conditions assigned to it. So as we have copied the standard JLT, there are some conditions. So you need to actually get rid of all these conditions. So delete all these conditions. Now change it to recognition. We have two JLTs, one for accrual, another one recognition. Okay. Now, as we have created a custom JLT for item expenses, so disable this and add your custom JLT. Your custom JLT is Reliance Demo Expense JLT. And whatever is there for your standard, just copy the same thing here, your line description, and also we have these all segments and the standard ADR. So copy the same thing here. Copy the standard. Now click on this multi-period accounting. Okay, so in the case of multi-period accounting, so here we have a couple of options here. How do you want to, how many number of journal entries which you want to create per period? Generally, you go with one per period. GL dates. So when the journal entry is created, what should be the effective GL date? Whether you want first day of the GL period or last day of the GL period or originating day. That is the day on which you run your multi-period accounting program. So I'll go with first day GL period. And there are couple of options as far as the proration type is concerned. So I'll explain all these four scenarios in detail. So first I'll go with the proration type of first period, and then click on line it. Okay, save this. Click on line it assignments, and then what we have done, we have created two JLTs, one for accrual and other for recognition. So we have already assigned this particular JLT under your JLD. Okay, and now you need to associate this recognition related JLT to this accrual JLT. Okay, so this is your accrual JLT. So what we have done, again, click on line assignments. Okay, put your cursor here and add your recognition related JLT and enter your line description, same as that of the item expense. For item expense, we have this all segments ADR. So again, do the same thing for the recognition as well. And what we also need to do is basically when user is entering an original invoice, that is this particular invoice, he'll be entering in a DFF, whether it's an insurance related or your rent related or your internet related expense. So when user enters insurance, so our expectation is that if our expectation is that every month your insurance expense should be debited and your prepaid expense will be a generic account which will be created. And if the user enters rent, our expectation is that every month your rent expense should be debited. Or if the user enters say INT, which is your internet, so every month my internet expense should be debited. So that is the requirement. So user will be just entering in the DFF value these values, but there should be some other screen wherein I should map these to the corresponding natural accounts, right? So that we can do within the SLA mapping. So far I hope you are good. So we have done this. Now let me do that mapping of these descriptions to the concerned natural account and then assign that here under recognition. Okay. Now let me go back to your mapping screen. So in order to go to the mapping screen, what I can do is I need to create a mapping and then assign that particular mapping under an ADR and then assign that particular ADR here. Okay, so I can directly close these screens. I can directly go to the concerned ADRs screen, or I can directly click on this account derivation rule button here, which will take me to the ADR screen, and then I can start creating a ADR. And again from ADR, I can go to the mapping set, create a mapping set, and then assign that particular mapping set to the ADR. Looks like it's not responding. Let me just close and reopen. Close the program. Let me clear cache cookies and then try again. Okay, now I'll get into the SLA supervisor responsibility, and then first create a mapping set and then assign that mapping set to an ADR and then assign that ADR to our JLT. Navigate to your SLA superuser responsibility. Go to your mapping set. Mapping set should be somewhere here. Create a new mapping set. So I'll call it as a Reliance demo MPA mapping. Reliance demo MPA mapping, and my chart of accounts is Reliance, and this is for my account. So there is something called input value and output value. So what I'm trying to say is input value is if user enters INS, which is insurance, I want the system to derive the output value as for insurance, the output, the national account is 6501. I want system to derive the output value as 6501, and effective start date I'll just make it as a 1st of January 2020. Doesn't make any difference. Similarly, if user enters say rent, I want system to pick up the 7420. That is my rent expense. Similarly, if user enters INT, which is internet, I want the system to pick up 7450. Remember, like these are the three values which we have entered in the value set. So in future, if there is any requirement to have a new expense, so user needs to update that in the value set as well as in this mapping set, and no other changes are required in the SLA. Okay, so I have created this mapping set. Now I'll create an ADR, and within the ADR, I'll assign this uh, mapping set. This is an ADR, so payables. Let me call it as Reliance demo. Um, ADR, Reliance demo ADR, and your transaction Reliance accounting flexible segment account priority one source is mapping set. So let me select my mapping set. This is the mapping set. And what is the input source? So this is how system understand that whatever I have mentioned as input and output in this mapping set, what exactly is the input source? So where exactly users enters that input value? So he will be entering that in the invoice line level DFF. So from the drop down, select invoice line FlexiField segment one. So when you say invoice line FlexiField segment one, it is invoice line level descriptive FlexiField. Okay. Now assign this ADR to my recognition related JLT. Okay. Go back to your custom AAD. then in your custom JLT, go to your custom JLT, multi-period accounting, line assignments. Okay. So now what here I'm trying to do is, as far as the recognition entry is concerned, which is this part is concerned. Sorry, as far as this accrual or the expense which needs to be recognized is concerned, all the segments will be the standard default. And as far as the national account is concerned, it will be derived from the mapping set. Okay. So now if you go back to my PPT, we have completed creating of the custom SLAM, custom AAD, custom JLD, custom JLT for expense and recognition, create custom mapping set and ADR. And the last step is to run validate application accounting definition program. So you can see all these are in not validated status. So run the validate application accounting definition program. I want to validate payables and I want to validate my application accounting definition. You should ensure that this particular program completes normal. If it completes in a warning or error, then try to find out what exactly the reason and then try to fix your SLA rules and then rerun this particular program. So once that is done, we can start creating an AP invoice and then see the impact of the accounting entries or MPA accounting entries. I think while it's running, I can continue with creating a AP invoice. So let me go to payables, Reliance Telecom USD. So Reliance Telecom is my OU under USD ledger. Let me create a simple AP invoice. Invoice date is today's date and invoice number is say MPA 100. Invoice amount of 12,000. So whenever you create your MPA invoice, there is a button called default option. You need to check this checkbox, and then as soon as you check the checkbox, this default start date and default end date both becomes mandatory. So in my current scenario, I'll explain this. I have a prepaid expense of $12,000. Okay, and I want this particular $12,000 to be apportioned or recognized over a period of time. So my deferred, I'm specifically taken some dates which falls in the middle of the month so that I'll explain you the different calculation. So I just want this to be deferred between these dates, 15th of October 2020 to 15th of January 2021. So let me put the start date as 15th of October 2020 to 15th of January 2021. Save this. And in my DFF, I will be specifying the type of expense. So I'll be specifying say insurance. So when your MPA program runs, your as part of these accounting entries are concerned, your insurance account will be debited every month. Now when I'm creating my initial invoice, for $12,000, I'll be using a prepaid advance account. Save actions, validate this invoice. Let us double check if the validate application accounting definition program is completed. Yeah, it completed normal. Okay, now we are good. Okay, so we ran the create AP invoice, and now we will run the create accounting and see the impact of the MPA. Let me just run the create accounting in the draft mode so that I can reuse this particular same invoice for uh, different scenarios. Okay, accounting has been successfully created. Okay, now if you remember, in my MPA proration types, there are 4 prorate types. One is first period, days in period, total days in period, and 360 days. So based on these prorate types, whatever we have selected while setting up a financial system will calculate what should be the amount which needs to be apportioned per each month. Okay, now in my current example, first I have selected a prorate period of first period. Okay, so now let's see. I've already ran the create accounting in draft mode. Now if I go to tools, view accounting, reports view accounting, let's see what are the entries which system is going to generate. So this is the first entry. The first entry is your expense, your prepaid expense account debit. Your liability is credited, and when you make a payment of this invoice, your liability will be debited and your bank account will be created. That's fine. Okay, now focus on this other your MPA accounting entries. So you can see here, as far as this entry is concerned, if you click on view journal entry, you'll be able to see it is in draft mode. And if you check all other accounting entries which are related to MPA, this is another entry. So for each month, you can see the system has generated one accounting entry: item expense account debit, prepaid expense credit, item expense account debit, prepaid expense credit. So it's basically your insurance premium expense is debited and your prepaid advance account, whatever you have selected here, is created. So system has created 4 different accounting entries. And now how system has arrived at $3,000. Okay, I have selected the deferred period start date as 15th of October 2020 and end date as 15th of January 2020. Okay, now in my current ledger, my accounting period starts on the first day of the month and ends on the last of the month. So my accounting period follows the normal calendar period. So now if you see here, our proration type is first period. So when you select this proration period type of first period, what system does is first system check what is the start date and what is the end date. 15th of October to 15th of January. So this 15th of October to 15th of January, these actually falls under 4 different periods. So 15th of October is in October period, November, December, and 15th of January is in January period. So totally there are 4 periods which are involved, because this is the start and this is the end date. And what is the total invoice amount? 12,000. Total number of periods which are involved is 4 periods. So for each period, system is going to create one journal entry for $3,000, which is 12,000 divided by 4, which is $3,000. So that is the reason why system has created 4 different entries, one for each period. So here you can see, uh, system has created one accounting entry with the GL date of the first day of the each period. And as far as the current month is concerned, as I have mentioned, 15th of October, system has created this entry with the accounting date or GL date of 15th of October. And if I select this, if I click on view journal entry, I'll be able to see the journal entry status as incomplete. In order for this particular journal entry status to become complete, you need to run a program called complete multi-period accounting. Okay, I'll run that program at the end once I show you all the scenarios. Okay, similarly, if you select for November, go to view journal entry, you'll be able to see journal entry status is incomplete. So even though these accounting periods are not open, system has created this accounting entries. So again, I'm reiterating that it is not mandatory that you need to open the period. You should ensure that these periods should be available in your calendar. But even though the periods are not open, it's not a problem. System will still create these entries. It's going to keep the status in incomplete status. And once your period is open and once you run your multi-period, complete multi-period accounting program, that's where the journal entry status will change from incomplete to complete, and then create accounting will push those entries to your GL. Okay, so let me again show you the last entry, incomplete status. Okay, so this is how system generates your multi-period accounting entries with a proration type of first period. Now, what if I select a proration type as days in period? Now I'll use the same invoice. So let me copy this invoice number. Go back to my SLA changes. Sorry, SLA rules. It should be okay. Application accounting definition, payables, Reliance demo AD. Go to your invoices, JLD, and then query for my custom JLT. And then go to multi-period accounting. Okay, again change it from first period to, so this time I'll change it from first period to days in period. As I have made some changes, I need to run the validate application accounting definition program. So remember, whenever you make any changes to your SLA, you need to mandatorily run this application validate application accounting definition program. Otherwise, your create accounting program will error out. Again, you should ensure that this particular program completes normal. So this is the formula. So now let's show you how system calculates this days in period. So when you say days in period, again take the same example. This is the start date, this is the end date. So for each period, so for October, you have 31 days in the period, November 30 days, December 31 days, and January 31 days. But what exactly is the effective period? So effective periods, effective days. So effective days are basically, as far as October is concerned, our deferred period start date is 15th of October. So we want to consider all the days from 15th of October to 31st. So it's basically 17 days. So if you exclude 14 days, so it's basically 31 minus 14 will be 17 days. So it is 17 days in October you are considering as the effective days. And November all 30 days, December all 31 days, and as far as January is concerned, you are considering only 15 days because your end date is 15th of January. So this is effective days, and now there is something called effective month. So effective month is basically your effective days divided by total number of days in the period. And this is the total effective months. Total effective months is like sum of all the effective months. And now the formula of how system calculates the prorated amount is basically, if you look at this formula, it is basically your $12,000. That is your invoice amount multiplied by this effective month divided by the total. So similarly, 12,000 multiplied by 1 divided by this, and so on. Okay, whenever system is doing this kind of calculation, if there is any kind of a rounding difference, so the rounding difference will be automatically adjusted in the last day of the month. Now, if I add up all these four amounts, I should be getting 12,000. Okay, change this formula. Instead of 12,000, I should call it as C9. Okay, now let's see if system calculates accounting entries this way. Okay, now let me go back to my invoice, query for the same invoice. As I have ran the create accounting earlier in a draft mode, I can reuse the same invoice and I can rerun the create accounting. So when I run the create accounting again in draft mode, it is going to do a recalculation based on the changes whatever I have done. Okay. Now reports, view accounting. Okay. Now this way entry will be same. Now look at this MPA entries. So for the first month, 2170, 2170.21. Second month, 3957. Third month, 3957. Fourth month is 1914. 1914. It is proration days in period. So it is taking into consideration the effective days in each of the period. Okay. Now, next one is total days in the period. Again, go back to the SLA. Go to my application accounting definition. For my application accounting definition, invoices, custom JLT, search for my custom JLT, and then multi-period accounting, and then change from days in period to total days in period. Total days in period. Okay, now let's see. System calculates the MP entries for this option. Search for my invoice MPA 100. Okay, before I read in the create accounting, let me double check if this is okay. This is still running. Okay, you need to ensure that this program is completed before you rerun the create accounting. Okay, while it's running, now how system calculates this total days in the period. So this is the deferred start date. This is the deferred end date. So if you look at the difference between days in period and total days in period, in the case of days in period, it takes into consideration the effective month and does some kind of a calculation based on the effective month. But in the case of total days in the period, it just simply takes into consideration the effective days. Effective days in October is 17, 30, 31, 15, and then total number of effective days. So the formula here is basically 12,000 multiplied by 70 divided by 93. Similarly, 12,000 multiplied by 30 divided by 93, and so on. So basically here you are considering the effective month, but here you are considering the effective days in your calculation. Again, even in this case, when you are considering effective month, indirectly you're using these effective days, but the formula is slightly different, and hence the amount whatever is being calculated is also different. So see, here it is 2170, and here it is 2193, and 3870 and 4000, but here it is 3957, and so on. Okay, now let us see if system perform this calculation. It's completed. Now let me run create accounting. Done. Now check this entries. Again, focus on these MP entries. For the first month, it is 2193. So it's 2193. And the second month, it should be 3870. 3870. Third month is 4000. 4000. Fourth month is 1935. 1935. Okay. And now look at the last option, proration 360 days. Again, go back to SLA, super user responsibility, query for your application accounting definition. Invoices, JLD, search for your JLT. Multi-period accounting, 360 days. This is the last one. Again, as we made some changes, rerun your application accounting definition or validate application accounting definition program. F11. Oops, sorry. I did not rerun. I need to wait for the validate application accounting definition program. It's still running. Once it is completed, I can rerun the create accounting in draft mode again. Yeah, it's completed. Now actions, create accounting, draft, okay, view accounting. Okay. Okay, now how system has done in this case is basically as a year is assumed to have, in this case, year is assumed to have 360 days and each period is considered to have straight 30 days, even though literally in October we have 31 days. But from this particular logic perspective, it just ensures that each period has got say 30 days and 360 days in a year. But the real effective days to be considered for the month of October is only 17 days because deferred period start date is 15th of October. November again 30 days, December 30 days, and January is 15 days. And again do a calculation of effective month. So effective month is basically effective days divided by total number of days in the period. Similarly, effective days divided by total number of days in the period. And this is the sum of effective month. And per period, the formula is total invoice amount multiplied by the effective month divided by the total number of effective months. It's not days, it's month. It's the same for all. Again, if there is any rounding difference, that rounding figure will be added to the last month. So let us see if these are the entries which are generated by the system. Yes, for the first month it is 2217, 2217. Second month it is 3913 point something, 3913.04. Third month it's also same, and the last month is 1956.53. 1956 point, yeah, close to, yeah, 53 or 521. Okay, so now what I'll do is this, as we are able to see how the system has generated the accounting entries. Now the final step would be I'll run the create accounting in say final mode. Okay, and once I have done that, I should be able to still see the accounting entries. And the first accounting entry will have the status of final, but for the remaining entries, I should be still able to see the status as incomplete. For the MP related entries, you'll still be able to see incomplete. Okay, in order to make it as complete, I need to run a program called complete multi-period accounting program. Complete multi-period accounting, Reliance used is my ledger, and end date for current period is 31st of October 2020. Detail transfer to GL as yes, post in GL, I can just say yes. So once this particular program is completed, we should be able to see the journal entry status as complete for those MPA entries. So in this case, I ran with an end date of 31st of October. That is for my current period. So for my current period, it is changing the status of the journal entry from incomplete to complete and also pushing those entries to GL. Ideally, I should not be running this complete period accounting for November period because November period is not yet opened in my current environment. And obviously, November period will be open while we are in November. Now, my current date is October 7th. Okay, complete multi-period accounting is completed while other programs are running. I'll just requery the invoice. MPA 100 reports view accounting, and for the first entry, if I click on view journal entry, I should be able to see journal entry status is final and transfer to GL. Now, if I go back to the previous screen and if I check this for November, it being incomplete status. And other December and January will also be in complete status. So even though you run your multi-period accounting with an end date of say 1st of November or 30th of November, system will not be able to push those entries to GL because my November period is not open. Okay, so this is how you create accounting entries based on the multi-period accounting functionality. Thank you. Thanks for watching my video. For interesting videos on Oracle Financials, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.